So the common theme that we're seeing behind people who are living through and suffering from addiction is trauma.
So there was always this void within me to chase something to fill this, and nothing ever did. I know that through being around the city and listening to news that First Nations people are dying either from overdoses or suicide related to opioid use, and the numbers are staggering. I've created core beliefs as a child, and I carry those core beliefs to this day, and I need to change that. And those core beliefs are, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, and I'm unlovable.
A lot of us suffer from intergenerational trauma. My grandmother's a byproduct of residential schools, right? So I kind of feel I was a part of that too as well. I grew up in my grandmother's home. So again, the common theme is just that underlying mental health, right? That not addressing what's there. We are a proud people. We keep things suppressed. First Nation women were experiencing 8 times more overdose events and 5 times more deaths from overdose than non-First Nation women, which is quite staggering. First Nation men were experiencing 3 times more overdose events and deaths than non-First Nation.
I have been impacted by addiction. Where I come from, Orillia, there's a lot of younger people, like younger than me, like in grade 8 doing these pills, and it's bad and it needs to stop. Just trauma that happened to the children when they were small, it grows on them when they become older.
First 6 months of 2018, 629 people in Ontario overdosed. The first 6 months of 2018. That's 80 more people than the first 6 months of 2017.
When we started doing all the prevention and education on the dangers of cigarette smoking, smoking has gone down. It's very different than it was 20 years ago. We need to do the same thing with drug abuse and alcohol abuse. Right? Education and prevention. And for those that struggle, treatment. But that's the message that's being shared today with this youth. And the fact that they're going to be designing sort of the package and coming up with inspiring things will mean that other young people will relate to it.
The problem is it takes your soul, destroys you, destroys everything around you.
Seeing that the individuals who were being affected by it are community members, there was no help for them. There was no advocacy for them. There was no support for them within our community. They were being pushed under the rug. They were being locked in a corner with no supports to address their issues.
At the end of the day, if we're going to really make an impact on the community, we want to show the reality of this situation.
One of my best friends, she was with a guy and he ended up passing away from a fentanyl overdose. And I was there that night that she found out and stuff, and that was like definitely like one of the hardest things like I've ever had to see.
I do work with youth who are struggling with psychosis, who are struggling with what we call drug-induced psychosis. I counsel them from a traditional perspective, and I belong to a part of a team through the early psychosis intervention where the young person will have access to psychiatry, to medicine, and to anything they need like occupational therapy, addictions counseling, and then what our team lends through myself is the traditional counseling. The modern mainstream calls what I do maybe the best they can give it from their perspective is what they call talk therapy. And that goes from our culture, it's a big element to a person's recovery that they can talk about where they are, where they're going, and that way we can draw out what their hopes are. When the newcomers came here, they had what they considered superior technology in terms of guns, gunpowder, and they even used biological warfare on us, and that decimated our populations. That was the single most factor in us losing what we knew in the way the Creator gave us. But we never threw it away. So anything I talk about is yours. It's mine. We own all of this, and it's your entitlement.
We're here to create a campaign. Hopefully by the end of the day, we'll have like 50 or 60 done. Okay, so we're gonna get into the actual story building of the whole campaign. And this is really where the hard work comes in.